Welcome back, folks, to WrestleRant, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the pay-per-views that I watch on the WWE Network. And continuing from last year, I'm reviewing every installment in Royal Rumble history from 1988 to 2015. Last year, if you already haven't heard, I covered the installments of 96, 90, I think that was about it for the 90s, 96, 2000, 01, 02, 04, 05, 07, 08, 2010, and 2011. So any of those reviews, if you want to check those out, they're right here on the channel from last January. But in the meantime, though, I've been breaking down every other installment I did not break down, I did not review last year. I've been watching every installment anyway over the last couple of weeks, but I've been looking forward to this one. Royal Rumble 2003. This is going to be good. I was really looking forward to this show just because my buddy RJ, at RJ_Marceau, he's such a fan of the show. We watched part of it when I was over at his place a couple weeks ago, about a month or so ago. I watched the full thing back in its entirety on the WWE Network just last week and thoroughly enjoyed it. Probably one of my favorite Royal Rumble shows that I've watched up to this point. Along with 02. 02 was really great too. I reviewed that last year, but 03 was great, almost top to bottom. So kicking off the show for a spot in the Royal Rumble match, Brock Lesnar took on Big Show. Now, of course, anyone who knows me well knows that I'm not a huge Big Show fan, but I will give him credit wherever credit is due, whenever credit is due, when he has a very good match. And I thought he had the best matches of his career, period, with Brock Lesnar in late 02, early 2003. And they had a great story going on here, too, with the match they had at Survivor Series when Big Show screwed over Brock Lesnar, as well as Paul Heyman. Or Paul Heyman screwed over Brock Lesnar, not Big Show screwing over Paul Heyman, and screwed him out of the WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar, on his road to regaining the title, had to beat Big Show in the opening contest at the Royal Rumble to go on to win the Rumble and get back his WWE title at WrestleMania. So it was kind of predictable that he was going to win the Rumble. In looking back on prediction threads and stuff from that period of time, people were already kind of predicting that Lesnar was going to win back. He was going to win the Rumble going to face whoever at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. But from a match standpoint, this was really, really good. These two always had great chemistry. Another very good match from the two. Not as long as some of their older battles. This was only about 6 minutes long, so not really as lengthy as some of their past matches from late 02 and later on in 2003, but still a good match nevertheless. And it told a good story with Brock Lesnar being able to overcome Big Show and land a spot in the Royal Rumble match. So good stuff there. Great way to open. After that, for the World Tag Team titles, we had the Dudley Boys regaining the gold, the World Tag Team Championships, against the team of William Regal and Lance Storm. Pretty fun match. Didn't get a ton of time. Got more time than Brock Lesnar and Big Show, which was surprising, but still a good tag team affair. I believe Regal and Storm took the belts off of Goldust and Booker in early January, so they were just transitional champions. They didn't hold the belts for very long at all. But Dudley Boys were a good tag team to take those titles going into WrestleMania. So a good match, nothing too notable, but it was a good match, and the fans popped for the title change when the Dudley Boys won back the belts. So good stuff there. After that, Torrie Wilson versus Dawn Marie, in a match that really wasn't good at all, as you would expect. These two had some terrible matches in late 2002, early 03 on the SmackDown brand. The story really wasn't that much better. They had a story which was more than what could be said for most of the Divas division for the past 5 to 7 years, but at least back then they had a story. It wasn't a good one, but the matches sucked beyond belief. Torrie Wilson was not a good worker. Dawn Marie was even worse. It was all right. Like when I wrote my reviews of like the Halloween SmackDown and the Thanksgiving SmackDown, and when these two would have matches and the Thanksgiving pudding matches and stuff like that, a costume contest, it was all right then just because it was silly stipulations. But when you put them in a ring one-on-one and you expect them to deliver, no one was really expecting a 5-star classic, but when you put them in the ring together to have a standard singles match, it's not going to be good. And this was coming off the quote-unquote death of Al Wilson, Torrie Wilson's father, in storyline. So the match really wasn't good at all. Thank God it only lasted 3 minutes, but one can argue that it was 3 minutes too long. Torrie Wilson won, and that was the end of that. Dawn Marie said, this isn't over, so I'm not sure if the feud continued. I don't really remember, but the match was shit, though. After that, for the World Heavyweight Championship, Scott Steiner contending for the gold against Triple H. Now, this came after in late 02 when Scott Steiner returned to WWE. He was the hottest prospect on the roster at that time. Raw and SmackDown were trying to sign him. Ultimately, he signed with Raw and immediately went after, set his sights on Triple H's World Heavyweight Championship. And over the next month, they had bodybuilding contest or, a show-off contest or whatever it's called. A pose down, that's what it's called. Push-up contest, arm wrestling contest, stuff like that. Just stupid stuff like that. Leading up to the match. And the match really wasn't any good at all. They just didn't really have much chemistry. I've seen worse matches before, but this really wasn't anything notable at all. It kind of put the kibosh on Scott Steiner's push from the get-go, because the guy, it's not that he wasn't a good worker, because he had some great matches, obviously, with his brother Rick as one of the greatest tag teams of all time back in the 90s. Maybe just because he was all roided up, or he was just, I don't know. And by the 2000s, when he was just not really himself in the 90s anymore, he was fucking Freakzilla indeed. He was roided to the gills, but I mean, the guy could still have a fine match. He wasn't really capable of what he once was, but this wasn't a good match. Him and Triple H just had zero chemistry whatsoever, and they would have an equally bad match at No Way Out the next month too. So I don't know why they felt the need after this disaster of a match to put him back in the world title picture. But beyond that, though, I don't even think Scott Steiner was at WrestleMania 19. I think he either got hurt or whatever. He wasn't even on the card. But after that, he was pretty much done. I think he was in the 04 Rumble, and that was about it. I think he didn't really last much longer after that in WWE. But the match really wasn't that good. They had to have Ric Flair interfere just to make it entertaining. I mean, again, it wasn't horrendous, but it really wasn't that great either. They just did not really contest the best of bouts, and that they didn't really have great chemistry at all. Scott Steiner won via disqualification after Ric Flair got involved, I think, or maybe Triple H got himself DQ'd, or whatever it was. Scott Steiner won the match via DQ, but not the World Heavyweight Championship, setting up the rematch at No Way Out, which was, like I said, unnecessary considering how bad this match was. After that, for the WWE Championship, Kurt Angle defending the gold against Chris Benoit in an absolute wrestling clinic. And all the pay-per-views that I've watched from 2003, maybe with the exception of Angle Lesnar at WrestleMania, which I think is a very underrated WrestleMania main event in the long scheme of things, I thought this match was amazing. Probably one of, if not the best match I've ever seen from 2003. I haven't seen much of 2003, but from the pay-per-views that I watched from that time period over the last, year or two, here on WrestleRant reviewing pay-per-views from that time period of 2003, this match was absolutely amazing. Like, I'm not even doing it justice by talking about it here. These two put on an absolute wrestling clinic. Tick for tat, just back and forth, just having an amazing wrestling contest. Counter after counter. I mean, there was one stretch of time that it really wasn't not much going on, but for me anyway, it never really felt like there was a dull moment throughout. I mean, they got almost 20 minutes of in-ring time. And then after that, just counter after counter after counter. Many points during the contest. Benoit almost had the match won, but in the end, it was Kurt Angle, I think, forcing Benoit to tap out to retain his WWE Championship. Just an amazing match. Back and just up and down, just amazing stuff. And the best part about it was that Angle had his backup. He had the world's greatest tag team, then known as Team Angle, in Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. But they didn't even need to interfere. I think they were ejected from ringside or just left on their own from the get-go, and never at one point did they interfere in the matchup. They just came in afterwards to congratulate Kurt Angle on his win, on his successful title defense. So the match was great, thoroughly enjoyed it, probably easily the best match in the entire show, but the rest of the show was pretty good too. I'll talk about that more in a minute when we talk about the overall show, but this was a great match. These guys just went out there and fucking killed it. And if there was really any point in time that Benoit showed he could be a world champion in WWE, in vying for the WWE title on this show, I think it was during this match. Because it wasn't long after, remember, only a year later that he won the Royal Rumble and went on to win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 20 in the main event, no less. So I really feel like this was his breakout performance. I mean, I don't know. He might have been in like a fucking tag team match at WrestleMania 19, but I really felt like of all the matches that I've seen from Benoit, as great of a worker as he always was before this, in 01 and 02 over on the SmackDown brand, I personally thought this was his breakout performance as a main event level guy, at least going into 2004. So we get to the Royal Rumble match itself. And I thought, maybe I'm just speaking too soon or just speaking prematurely or whatever, but this has to be one of my top 5 favorite Rumbles that I've watched up to this point. I mean, including the ones that I've already liked, including the 2010 and 2011 Rumbles, 2008, which was really good too. The 2003 Rumble, again, like I've said, every single Royal Rumble review video, I love Rumble matches that have great stories, a multitude of stories to tell, and that's exactly what this match had. I loved Undertaker came back, so that was a big draw for this match. That Undertaker was making his first return, making his first appearance in almost 2 to 3 months. I think he was taken out of action right after that No Mercy match with inside Hell in a Cell with Brock Lesnar, and he was taken out by Big Show, and they would resume that rivalry on the road to WrestleMania. But he returned in this match, and he took out Maven, which was great, because remember the year before in 2002, Maven he eliminated The Undertaker after drop kicking him and got the shit kicked out of him afterwards. So in this match, and kind of a follow-up from that year, Maven attempts to hit a drop kick on Taker, but this time he does not go over the top rope. Taker chokeslams him and later throws him over the top rope. So I thought that was a pretty great way of kind of alluding to the spot from 1 year prior. That was really cool. The Hardy Boys, after, Matt Hardy, they both went their separate ways when Matt was drafted to SmackDown and Jeff stayed on Raw, and they kind of went their separate ways for a while in 2002. They not reunited, but they crossed paths once again in this contest. And I think it was one after another they came in. I feel like in 01, 02, and 03, they had some interaction of some kind in every single one of those Rumble matches, which was interesting. But they had a great back and forth in this bout. I think it was Rosie of the 3-minute warning. When he came down, he was just beating the shit out of people left and right. And then he later reunited with Rikishi. Although they didn't really have any history on screen, anyone who knows, they're both members of the Inouye family. They're related. And I don't know how many people got that reference while watching the match. I believe so. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's pretty well established at that point amongst, the casual viewers or even the hardcore fans especially. But they teamed up very briefly in this bout to take on everyone in the match before Rosie turned on Rikishi in typical heel fashion. I thought that was great. I'm looking down the list of participants right now to see if any stories that I missed. Oh, of course. The first two, and excuse me, I lost my voice the other day, so I apologize if I sound like shit. If I sound like shit, I apologize. The opening two entrants, Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho. This was what kicked off their amazing road, their amazing build to their amazing match at WrestleMania 19. Jericho is trying to emulate Shawn Michaels, and I love the way he did it too by trying to skin the cat and get back in the match. And they just went back and forth, and even 2 minutes in the match, Shawn Michaels was gone. Jericho helped take him out with help from his buddy Christian. And then Shawn Michaels, I believe, would come back later and help take out Chris Jericho or whatever the case might have been. But he did last a while. Chris Jericho lasted almost 40 minutes, and that would, like I said, kick off their feud on the road to WrestleMania. So that was great to see them kick off the match, both one and number two. And with the history that Shawn Michaels had as kicking off, in kicking off the Rumble from number one and winning the Rumble back in 1995. So that kind of nice little history lesson there. Edge lasted a little bit. Who else lasted? John Cena lasted a while, so kind of a nice little showing for him before, only a year into his main roster run. So, again, a lot of great stories going on here. Batista lasted a while, I believe he lasted until the Final Four. And then it came down to Brock Lesnar and Taker. And the last time Taker was seen on TV before he got attacked by Big Show, he was feuding with Brock Lesnar. And in the end, Brock Lesnar would prove to be the superior athlete here, toss Undertaker over the top rope after he took out previously, I think it was Kane maybe, whoever it might have been. But the Brothers of Destruction also briefly reunited in this match, which was pretty cool. But in the meantime, Taker got distracted long enough for Lesnar to toss him over the top rope. Lesnar, the winner of the 03 Rumble. Afterwards, Taker comes back in the ring, shakes his hand out of respect, kind of endorsing the new top babyface of SmackDown, if not the entire WWE. And I loved it. Probably the most amount of stories I've seen furthered/told in one Rumble up to this point. I might be wrong in saying that, but I just really, really like this Royal Rumble. A lot of great spots, a lot of great stories, a lot of a good winner that led to a great WrestleMania match between him and Kurt Angle. WrestleMania 19 I thought was stacked. That was another great WrestleMania. I love this Rumble. It was a really, really good show on the whole. Definitely one of my favorite Royal Rumble shows, period. Since I started watching these, about a month ago, starting with 88, and I've seen a lot of the rest of them, which we'll be getting to here on WrestleRant in the weeks to come. But I thought this was a great match. Everyone involved did a great job of holding their own, telling a good story. And like I said, the show on the whole was very, very good. I enjoyed the Rumble match. I enjoyed the Rumble show on the whole. Definitely one of my favorite Rumble matches/shows of all time. I thought it was great. So definitely check the show out on the WWE Network. If there's any one match to watch, it would be the WWE title match, just because how amazing it is. Far and away the match of the night. That's not to say the rest of the show was bad. The Rumble match I thought was very, very good. Scott Steiner and Triple H, I would skip that. That really wasn't a good match at all. Neither was the women's match, but the opening two matches, Lesnar and Big Show, was very good. And the tag team title match was fun while it lasted as well. So that is my review of Royal Rumble 2003. Thank you guys for watching and listening as always. Be sure to check me out on Twitter and follow me there at WrestleRant. Find me on Facebook. Give the page an old thumbs up. At graham.gsm.matthews at facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All support is greatly appreciated. I'll be back on, I believe this is going up on Tuesday. If not, then the next video will be going up on Tuesday, or the next one on Saturday. I forgot what day this is going up, but you can check out my next review of the Royal Rumble 2006. That will be my next video if you want to check the video out right here on WrestleRant in the days to come. So until then, guys, have a great rest of your week or weekend whenever this is going up. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.